Today we're going to take a look at another autograph book in my collection. This is my autograph copy of Traci Lords' book, Underneath It All. Hi everybody, Beanmeister22 here, and if you're not familiar with who Traci Lords is, look her up on the Google machine. Don't do a video or picture search, but still look her up. In a nutshell, at age 15, she drops out of high school, and somewhere between age 15 and 16, she obtains fake ID from California and uses it to enter the adult film industry. Prior to her first, finger quotes, big break in that industry, she had sent pictures into several adult magazines and papers, also referred to as rags, like Screw Magazine and things along those lines. Her big break came in 1984 when she was a Penthouse centerfold for the month of September, and then her career skyrocketed. She was in over 75 adult films, and in the early to mid-1980s, she was one of the highest paid actresses in that industry. She could earn around $1,000 a day, and adjusted to inflation, that's like earning $3,000 a day right now. She had always aspired to be a mainstream Hollywood star. The funny thing is, in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, many adult films were produced on the back lots of major studios, right there in Hollywood. Not produced by the studios, but produced on the property owned by the studios, rented or leased out to these small independent adult production companies. And then it all came crashing down. In 1986, the FBI gets an anonymous tip that the famous adult film star Traci Lords is underage. And instantly, millions of men and women, both in the industry as well as outside the industry, became a felon. After all, one of the adult film industry's most popular actresses was underage. So if you watched or seen anything she has done, you just committed a crime. And a very odd coincidence, and you know we don't believe in coincidences here, Traci Lords starts her own production company, goes over to France, and films a movie called Traci, I Love You. And this all just miraculously happened 2 days after her 18th birthday. And to this day, that is the only adult film she has been in that you can watch without becoming a criminal. And since she produced it herself, she was the owner of the film. Well, later on, she ends up selling the rights to that and then buying them back. But the non-coincidence here is, 2 days after she turns 18, she produces a adult film. And for her millions of fans out there, this is the only adult film that she is in that they can watch, because everything else she has been involved with prior to this is illegal. There have been many people, both inside the industry as well as outside the industry, who have written on this exact topic, and it seems that all of their conclusions are the same. This was all planned from the very beginning. Whether it was an FBI sting or a sting by some police agency in California. California might be very liberal now, but back in the day, it was very conservative when it came to adult films, and they would consistently raid adult films in San Francisco and in LA, to the extent that if somebody was going to produce an adult film and they didn't want to get raided by the police, they would have to go over to places like Nevada or Lake Havasu to film it and then come back to California. And they would get raided over there by California police also. Now the facts are, every nude photo she ever sent into a magazine or a rag, and every adult film she applied to be in, she showed a legitimate California driver's license. It wasn't a fake. It was actually made in the California version of the, finger quotes, DMV. This was a state-issued driver's license. Clearly, she had help obtaining this, finger quotes, legit California ID. Number 2, she always wanted to be a mainstream actress. Sadly, she failed in this. She's been in a bunch of things, but certainly never anything special. She would have minor roles or major roles, but really she doesn't seem to be that good of an actress. And the final and probably biggest fact here, she played the whole adult industry for a fool. Worked hard to get into the adult industry, starred in over 75 adult films, never had a bad thing to say about the industry, and it is a bad industry. And then again, so is mainstream Hollywood, especially since that line between mainstream and adult is very blurred. And when she turns 18, she produces the only legal adult film she has ever been in. And it's not a coincidence that she made this film over in France and not here stateside, where she was waist deep in the adult industry. I'd have said neck deep, but waist deep is a little more accurate. So let's talk about this book. This book is autographed. Yes, I got it because it is autographed. Love her or hate her, she is one of the biggest names of the 1980s. Not just in the adult industry, but in the American consciousness. And before I ever read the book, I already knew it was a whitewashing of what happened. It was essentially her writing hundreds of pages to defend herself and say how she was a victim. Was she a victim? Well, in some instances, of course she was. But honestly, I believe there is very little truth in this book, as do many other people who have written on this topic. But that still doesn't matter. She is a very famous person from that decade, and therefore worth learning about and worth having an autograph of. All right, what do you think? Are you familiar with the Traci Lords story? You don't have to be a fan of the adult movie industry to understand how she rocked the nation and how she turned an entire industry upside down. Think of it this way. If you are currently a business owner and you accept somebody's ID saying this is who they are old enough to work in your industry, they show you 100% legit documentation proving this, and then it turns out it was all fake. That's on you. It doesn't matter that this fake identification was issued by a legit state agency. It's all on you. And yes, there are plenty of industries that you cannot work in unless you are 18 years or older, and I'm not talking about the adult industry. So yeah, there's some food for thought. Leave your comments in the comment section, and as always, thanks for watching.
Beanmeister 22, the most dangerous man on YouTube.